In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, town hall, and sent to the officially designated newspapers indicating the meeting would take place at the community center at 9 a.m. on this date. Fire exits are located in the far right corner in the back and to my immediate left in the front. Per Resolution 156-20, establishing rules of conduct and decorum for public meetings, please be advised of the following. All members of the public must step up to the designated microphone, state for the record their name and address before addressing mayor and council. Roll call.
Councilman Aguilar.
Here.
Councilman Haynes.
We don't have one.
Councilman Hurley.
Here.
Councilman McDonald.
Here.
Councilman Slaughter.
Here.
Council President Bertrand. Here.
Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thanks for coming to our continuing budget discussions, and today we'll be discussing or rediscussing the capital budgets. Patty?
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I gave council on Thursday, and Pat, yours was today. I redid the sheets based off of the department heads coming in, and they had a couple of additions and different numbers than what they originally gave me, so I did give you updated sheets. Those are the sheets we're gonna work off of. They're dated on the top of 2/26/25. As of right now,
No, they won't give it to us.
okay. So after the request came in, actually before I do this number, we are adding, Councilman Sackar gave me a additional to be added to, which is not on your sheets. I just wanted to confirm with you, Councilman Sackar, that these polls are 30 of them at the price. So these would not qualify for large cap, so they will not affect our numbers today. It will affect small cap, which will affect next budget. So next week when we speak about the regular budget, so we can tweak this number better.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay.
So are we holding that discussion until next week?
Well, it is a cap, no, well, we talk all about capital now, so if there's any discussion about this, we should do it now, because it is a capital item. It's just gonna that it's a smaller cap that goes into the budget.
I mean, if we're on this subject, the only question I would ask, did you go out to the utility company to get approval for
At
the,
this time, no.
because you need to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so as the budget stands now, so let me just first reiterate that, at the next council meeting, we'll be adopting ordinance number 24-27, which is just under $500,000 that I will be going out for debt. So before I even give you this number, any number I give you figure, we have to add $500,000 onto.
That's the RPM.
That's the RPM. Yeah, so that, I'll be going out for debt this year. So with all the requests of the department heads, the total that we're looking at is due out for debt is $1,148,640. So
That's with or without the
without the 500.
1.148?
Yep.
This is with everyone's wish list, though.
Correct, that's what I'm saying, this is our starting point.
We can't grant all wishes.
Right,
No.
no, and that's why I said I wanted to give you our starting point and then go from there. Now, I think it's always asked me what I recommend. There is no magic number for recommending. I mean, the bottom line is, what the whole thing with capital is it's the debt we have to go out for, so it's what council feels comfortable approving and feeling like, as Melissa just stated, what they feel is the necessity just to give you an idea, last year, we went out, last year was a little unique, so last year we went out for water for $280,500 for our water debt. Our general debt for the general capital was, we went for $644,000. Just a side note to that, we did not go out for the debt yet, but we did approve last year to go to the I-Bank for a $1.1 million for that, wet well project that we're gonna do in the back. And again, that is going out for debt, but what's nice about the I-Bank is, you apply for that amount of money, and then there is types of forgiveness that goes through it, so we probably will not end up paying that full amount. But again, we don't know that, so we go out for the amount we need, and then throughout it, there are some types of forgivenesses going through the process of the I-Bank.
But that goes into the water utility, correct, spreadsheets?
Right, that's kind of, that's part of the water, right, but it's debt, you know?
It's debt, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, I'm sorry, I was just trying to get over the whole debt, so, so that's what we did last year, if anybody is curious on what we did last year. So I guess that all being said, let's look at this year.
Can you remember any of the big ticket items from last year?
Yeah, I could. So the big ticket items last year, okay, so for building to grounds, the big one was Franklin Franklin Ave Phase 1 resurfacing project, which is gonna be done this year. McKinley Monroe, Lawrence and Kelly, that was done last year. Between the two of those, well, we had grants on those, so that did offset a little bit. Police cars, bulletproof vests, computers, turnout gear, tablets for the fire vehicles, Scott packs for the fire department. Our overall road resurfacing, various roads that we always try to keep a certain amount of money in for when we need to do roads. Purchase of a utility truck. You did Main Street improvements, some security cameras, and installation of, no, that's part of a different project. Those, just as a quick list that made up what
Thank
we
you.
went out for.
Appreciate it.
And that was on general capital. On water capital, the big thing was flag.
Yep.
But again, we had a grant, so it wasn't as bad. The grant was $100,000 of the $310 that we asked.
Thank you.
Okay.
Quick question, Heather.
Sure.
That 1.148, that's the total of this general capital?
Debt.
That's
So,
the
yes,
amount
so,
for debt?
correct. So what it
Plus
is
the 500,000 in RPM debt
correct.
should bring us to 1,648.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So if you add your capital sheets, you're not gonna come up with my number, but, because there are certain projects that we put soft costs on. Not every project gets a soft cost, and soft costs are 20%. So the total soft cost, of the 1.1 that I told you, I just wanna make sure I'm on the right year, so I was jumping back and forth between years. About 180,000 of it are soft costs.
And what is that again?
So that when to do two projects, if you purchase a vehicle, that's a straight cost, that's what we put in. We do Franklin Phase 1, we have to pay the engineer, that's considered like a soft cost,
Gotcha.
okay?
That, you said that was 141?
100, what, the total,
That's in soft cost?
soft cost is 180.
180.
So add the numbers up plus my 180, that's how I come up with the 1.1.
Okay.
Take it away, guys.
Okay.
So I gave you the new sheets, I don't know if you wanna start, I don't know if people messed them up, but we'll start with the municipal building administration. So what we have on here, and again, you're not looking at that first column, that's, capital, small cap, that's not in the number, we're looking
Okay, total.
at the bonded number.
Yep.
Okay? So, we're looking at document scanning and also, the town hall, servers for town hall and the police department, which are at end of life, which we should have technically done last year, but
Yeah.
whatever, so,
I'm assuming that's untouchable, has to be done.
right.
They're on hospice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
has to be done.
They gave us it was a year that we could go out and we did the extra year, so, unfortunately, last year. So those are the administration. Next is.
Patty, can you just at least tell us the amount, since we don't have any paperwork here, since you won't give us anything when you're doing your report? That would be helpful. Thank you.
For the scanning,
The scanning is $10,000 and the servers for town hall and the police department will be $15,000.
Thank you.
Next page is DPW. So we have the replacement of park lights at Park Lake for $60,000. We have the security, additional security for Donatoni Museum area for $6,000. We have sanitation, sewer, relining,
That was small cap, 6,000.
okay, so on that, let's just skip over sewer for half a second and let's just jump to the rest. DPW streets and roads, the resurfacing, I put $250,000 in,
can't touch it.
but the whole thing with that is when we do our budget next week, you will see that I have an additional surplus taken out, and I'm moving it over. When we got the check from Vanderhoof, I put the $250,000 in current into miscellaneous revenues, and I will be moving that money over. So even though it's $250,000, we are going to use that $250, so that we're going to go out for no debt on that particular dollar amount.
That's
Correct.
offset,
Yep.
I see it right there.
The mower, a mower for $20,000, the loader for $225,000.
That's the first one we got.
Franklin Ave Phase 2 is, $285,000, but we're getting a $218,000 grant. So we're only looking at about $82,000 in debt for that. Union Street Ditch, this is the project that will never go away. Just of the amount of time it took to get the permit from DEP, prices have gone up. We went out for debt last year and, had to reject all bids because we didn't have enough money in the budget. So this is the additional money that's going to be needed to do that project for $110,000. Franklin Street, this is the grant that we're doing, the half or 50% of the grants that we're doing with, Denville is 80%, at $80,000.
Okay.
So that's all the DPW, now going back to sewer. Sewer, I'm running out of, so we run our sewer utility through the current fund, that's how it was set up many years ago. So sewer, I have $75,000 in, sewer relining, equipment repairs, $50,000. In West New Street rehab for $377,000. With our reserve, I'm looking to fund that $377,000 100%.
Nice.
And if I just, when we have our conversation next week, I may be reducing the $125,000 down. We usually budget that every year as a safety net because the repairs need to be done. But due to this RVRSA going up, in which you'll see next, what we discussed of over $200,000,
What is that, our viewers?
that's our sewer
Okay,
bill that we
sewer.
pay to the RVRSA for our sewer.
Gotcha.
Usually what happens in a budget, your sewer rent should equal all your sewer expenses, including the capital outlay that you wanna put out. And because of the increase, our rents aren't enough to pay for what's in the budget. So that's kind of why we're looking at sewer rates again. But that number of $125,000 may be reduced next week when I talk to Kathy.
Okay.
But again, that is in small cap, that does not affect our numbers of today. The only thing that affects our numbers of today with the sewer is that 377, and I'm telling you, I'm funding it 100%, so it is not in there.
Patty, can you explain that project?
Which one?
West New Street, the 377.
Yeah, so at the end of West New Street, there is a sewer that, Kim, you were in the meeting with me, how would you best describe, let me see if I have
Which
it.
end, which end of West New Street?
It's, I think, right at the end of East New. Let me see if I have it.
Where it turns?
Where it turns by the apartments or by
I would think by the
West Main
apartment,
Street?
right?
Or East Main Street?
So the sanitary flow meter and at the location of an existing stretch of the sewer sanitary sewer piping in Rockaway Borough located in the easement behind West New Street. The existing sanitary sewer, which is previously buried, is now exposed and needs to have modification. The sewer main is owned by Rockaway Borough and is part of the sewer main. You know what I'm talking about now?
Absolutely no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 35 years.
Well, I do.
Where is it?
So it's, you have to go behind Tony, walk towards Main Street. There's a little path,
Okay.
it's back in, so that's the right of way for the, or
That's near the French Whisker.
Let me explain. There's two lines on the street, two sewer lines. There's actually one in the road on West New Street. There's actually one out in the woods. The one out in the woods actually takes all the way sort of Mount Pleasant Avenue, part of Farview, a good part of Main Street also. So it's not through wetlands, there's a piece that's exposed through the brook.
Okay.
It goes up to the river. So it's a trunk line,
yeah, it's a trunk.
Mhm.
it's a 10-inch cast iron line.
Yeah.
So what's the plan, they're gonna do metering
You're
or?
gonna do metering in there?
We did the metering already,
Okay.
and that's where it determined. We were hoping it wasn't gonna cost as much, but because of our DEP permitting, of course, it
Yes,
has to take on,
DEP
yeah.
issue down there, because it's
So-
wetlands.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a pretty, we won't see it for a couple of years.
You ready?
Okay.
Thank you, Patty.
Welcome.
So, Patty, looking at this, minus the money we're getting, like grants or whatever, there's about 4 or 5 big ticket items that are close to around 100,000 that we might need to address. Do you agree? 4 or 5 big ticket items?
Well, that's your guys'
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that's what I see.
Okay, well, that's what you guys, because again, you guys made the
Do you guys
decision.
agree?
Let's start at the top.
Yeah, let's go back to the
Yeah,
top.
let's,
Let's talk about sewer.
let's start at the top of our.
Sorry.
Okay.
Do we wanna finish going through?
Well, no, do you wanna do it, do you wanna
So the top
go,
of the sheet, yes.
do you wanna go page by page, or do you wanna run everything?
Page by page.
Page by page.
Okay, go
through it.
Can I just have a little explanation on the lights at Park Lake?
That's been changed. They're no longer the lights at Parks Lake, they're the lights for Wall Street, right? Am I right about that?
That's what we're
I don't
talking
think, I think we said we were gonna discuss that, so let me give the original plan, then you could go over to it. So, 2 years ago, I believe it was, Rob came in and said that they were looking to switch the lights out in Park Lake to LEDs, because the lights down there can't get the parts. So, council had decided to every year put some money aside to do that. Last year, might have been last year or the year before, we did not do it, so it started maybe 3 years ago, because of budget restraints, we took it out. So then when we were talking about it last time, when we talked about the first round, Councilman Haynes had said he'd rather see the money go towards lights on Wall Street. So I'm thinking of maybe changing it to, instead of saying Park Lake, is maybe doing, like a street light infrastructure, just because if it works out for Wall Street, great. I know Township's talking about doing theirs, so are we gonna have to move quicker, so I just don't know.
That was an update.
That was gonna be my question, are we coordinating with the township so that we have a unified look?
Correct, so yeah, so it looks like Township's gonna start doing this project this year. So that's where I'm thinking, instead of saying it's definitely, we'll change that more to street lighting for, the infrastructure of streets and parks. And then if Park Lake, they don't do Park Lake and we're ready to do Wall Street, it will be for that, just so it's for some type of lighting infrastructure.
Yeah.
So the
Make it a blanket
township,
term.
township's definitely gonna do Park Lake this year?
It's an update.
I was not in the meeting, I am only getting that feedback, I can get an official answer on that, but I just heard talk because I was not in the meeting with the township.
I got a comment. So, I did go back, 2 years ago, Patty, you're right, there's $70,000 put in for lights at the lake.
Correct.
It hasn't been
Yeah.
used yet. And I agree with Councilman Haynes, we're talking about, this year is expecting $60,000 to go downtown. We all agree, we do owe downtown people something. So I said, talk about Rockaway Township, is there anything confirmed that they're actually doing it?
Well, that's what I'm,
No, you
That-
said, I'd like to see something.
well, that's why
Actually,
I'm
no.
saying if we change this
I'd
to
like to
the
see something.
infrastructure of lighting for streets and parks, if they're
Yes.
not, then I can
Well-
use it for Wall Street, you know what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
kind of will
but
give us the
Like
opportunity
I
to
said, I'd like to
use it.
see a commitment from them because there's been issues in the past.
I
I'd like to see
agree.
that they're actually doing it.
Oh, no,
Right.
I'm just talking about for us to get through
Yeah.
for this, I'm not saying that that's what it's gonna be spent on, I'm just thinking if I can just change it to the infrastructure of lighting for streets
Yes, I
and
agree.
parks,
Yeah.
that
Let's focus on Wall
money,
Street.
right,
Then you can use it.
Yes, I
then,
agree.
right, then if they do it and we need it, we have it, but if they don't, then we do it towards Wall Street.
Well, I think we should emphasize on Wall Street. I do agree
You,
with that.
yeah, but you would agree that I think we probably own 60% of the lights.
We
at
do,
that
unfortunately, we
point,
do,
right?
we do.
And but to that point, if the township is gonna buy lights and we're gonna buy lights, we might get a better deal. if we-
Possibly, yeah, all of
Yeah,
stuff.
we all come in.
So we need a little information on that too.
Well, yeah, I will, for our purposes, I'm just gonna change the, right, so it just gives us the opportunity, and again, as long as we keep it for the same use, it's not like I'm gonna do this and we're gonna be able to use it for anything else, it's strictly going to be
Like
Streetlights.
streetlights, exactly, I don't
Yeah,
want
that's-
anybody to think that we're doing this so we can do something somewhere
Okay,
else.
yes.
It's for lighting of the town,
parks are.
Make it a blanket term.
yeah. Well, it's funny, it's gotta be blanket, but it's gonna have to be a little like, describing the lighting and all that, so it's just more where we can use the lighting, is,
Gotcha.
I'm gonna leave that a little bit.
Gotcha.
Patty, how much do we still have in that account? I know a couple of years ago, we did put the money in for the lamps, so we should,
The 70's still sitting there,
the 70 still.
the 70's still sitting there, cause we haven't done anything with the lights.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So we possibly have 70 plus
No,
60.
we do.
Well, so the only problem I have with that is when we went through, when the money that we designated, I wouldn't be able to use the money that we put aside, the 74 Wall Street, because I, in it wrote that it's for Park Lake.
Right.
So that money is kind of locked in the Park Lake.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
But
So
you-
if
you
this money
rename-
moving
you
forward, if I
rename
change
this-
it, correct, then
If you
moving
rename this to something
forward.
a little bit more,
Right,
broad.
then this money moving forward, we can then, basically in town, if for some reason there's a project they wanna do.
just speaking hypothetically, you could use the 70 is specifically for Parks
Park
Lanes,
Lake,
and then if
because
you had to
it
use, let's say, another 10 out of the 60 towards that same project,
Correct,
then
right,
you have 50 left
Correct.
for Wall
Correct.
Street.
there you go, correct,
Gotcha.
okay, so that's that.
Fire.
That's just one line.
Oh, so you want to hear all this, oh, all right, you know, let's try to do the whole thing, because Melissa wasn't here, before we start maybe tearing them apart. Okay, fire,
I was here for fire.
oh, you were here for fire, okay, so just to run those through out loud, fire, do you want to make
No,
that?
I just wanna ask about the radios. And the
So-
number and-
We never got to speak with the fire chief, so I don't have an answer.
Okay.
So Scott Pax, he's looking for 4 small, 1 big, in my terms.
Has to be done.
I think that's 30 minutes and 60, is that what
Yes.
small and big is?
Yes.
$8,000, 4 sets of turnout gear for $24,000, radios for the town, 24 radios for $220,000, knock boxes for vehicles for $9,500, enforceable entry tool, 5 of them for $13,000, airbag and lifting system for $12,800, and exhaust systems for trucks 411, 412, and 413 for $9,400.
Okay.
And then the last one is the police department, which is basically 2 SUVs for $132,500.
And the
So that-
computers and tech.
That's small.
No, that's small cap.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yep, it's in the first column, it's small cap.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay. So on page 1, right? we have
Do we have a
the
priority?
Municipal administration. I don't think anything can be touched it.
I mean, we gotta continue to.
That's all I have to
It's
do.
gotta- The
So,
documents have.
I'm
to be
moving that
scanned.
one
There's-
off to the side immediately. Lights, I think we figured out.
Security, road surfing, where you at? The DPW
Actually, we're at the
streets?
top of the page.
We'll start at the top and just go through each one. okay?
Yep.
As an A, B, and C priority, folks, if we have to get to it, I'd suggest we start thinking about A is absolutely essential for infrastructure, safety for residents in the town, issues like that.
I
B,
agree.
we probably should replace it because of either early, time of life is expired, and a C is nice to have, but we can push it to. So,
So I'm saying on page one, administration, that's all A.
that's all A. That's critical for ongoing operations, safety and security. Replacement of lights at Park Lake, I put it in the B category, that's my own personal opinion.
I agree.
I would move the security out of Donatoni Museum,
That's the small cat,
that's, okay,
stay in Montgomery.
You can stay there.
no, still, put it all, sanitary sewer,
That's funded
I would say
100%.
that's 100%, that's infrastructure and
Yep.
Small cap.
ongoing. The only thing I see under DPW is, the loader,
The loader,
which is $250,000.
it's a massive charge.
And I mean, we'd have to check
Didn't we
with,
defer it last year?
We pushed it out last
We
year.
deferred, I think,
pushed it out
5
last
years.
year. And
We
we
need-
have two, this is the older one, I believe, Tom?
Yeah,
It's, yeah, we have two 444 John Deere's, this is the older one, this is the 2001. And we had a 2018, we bought the other?
19. Plus you had two backups, so you actually have 4 front end.
Yeah, so you really have four front end loaders, and I know they're used all the time, and it's, I would put it in right now between the A and the B category, but if we have to look to, like economize, I would suggest we put that in brackets for perhaps push it for another year.
There's a
Because
small
he
number.
did say, right, he has the truck that he's going
Yeah,
for.
he
He's got the mower and the loader.
The
And we
mower-
asked him,
The
if
mowers,
the mower gets used a lot,
Yeah,
yes.
it's used every
the
day.
saw is something the men have to use.
Yeah, and the truck, he did say, if we had to pick and choose,
There is a dumpster here, he does need a dumpster for his
dumpsters are
spoils.
needed.
Patty, can we take that out of recycling trust? Cause it's, we're recycling the dirt,
Yeah.
that's a $6,000 save.
It's a
Yeah,
small
that's
cap.
small cap.
That small cat, yeah, that's
Oh,
we're funding that.
We address that next week.
That's not in the, that's not
It's
even,
money.
What's
that's
next
not
week?
even in the debt.
Yes, just put that, like, the,
Next week.
stuff, put that,
Yeah,
it's still savings, just that little fee now.
Okay.
That's
by page here.
And everything under engineering for, Franklin Phase 2.
That's all.
That's all.
Yeah,
That's
I
at
agree.
least, that's my opinion, please.
What's the expiration date on the permit for Union Street ditch? From the DEP?
Why, you think we're pushing that? That project is over 10 years old, right?
Yeah,
Tom,
we
that
gotta finish
started,
Yeah.
Councilman
Got
Soccer,
9
that
years
started,
old, so.
I think that was in the process before I started in
Alright, so you wanna do it,
2017.
we'll do it, that's fine. Alright.
Kinda has to be
And
done.
folks, I would say that that's an A because we've delayed that so long over
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Should we have another significant weather event, that's a issue for water.
I agree, that's an
So
A.
I-
Anything
I would-
engineering infrastructure is an A.
We are having minor flooding on Ogden Ave,
Yes.
Big Avenue, so we owe it to the residents of,
To
to
fix
what we
that.
did, for instance.
What are the true Cs? Let's look at those.
I have the loader specifically as a C item.
Okay.
And put it down as a D on the lower.
As a B?
Well,
BC.
I mean, the way
I
I
know it's
said,
like
we're gonna
used
start
and
looking-
needed, yeah, but it's
BC.
such a
We
massive.
have 3 other front loaders besides that one.
Quite frankly, it's easier to cut that and get $213,000.
225.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the truck definitely, folks, the one he's replacing is a 99. All right, so we're talking about a vehicle
Yeah, it's
that's
an old vehicle.
25 years old. 26, okay. Yeah, that's right. It's 20, that's probably doesn't need a replacement.
It's on the road every night.
Yes.
Can you guys please put on your mics so we can hear properly? Thank you.
Sorry.
You can just hold the conversation in the other if you want.
Yeah, sorry.
Please, Angela. Thanks.
Okay. All right, I think that's that page. On to the next. Fire. Scott Paxer, in my opinion,
Yeah, this is actually part of an ongoing program. The Scott Packs, the turnout year, actually two this year. We replace Scott Packs because the cylinders also expire.
Yeah.
And we are going to the larger capacity cylinders, and either last year or the year before, we have the fill station to support those.
Yeah.
And every year we go for 4 sets of turnout gear because of the upgrades that are
Absolutely.
required under requirement for compliance. Melissa has a question on the radio, so maybe we pause there for a second and discuss that.
So,
Yeah, I just think we need more information. I just don't understand the quantity of the radios,
From
versus what we get from the county versus what we need to replace.
so I was explaining to Melissa, and I think it was Councilman Hurley and Councilman Sykar that were saying it. My question last week was, if we have 24 guys and we have 9 radios, why don't we get 15? But then you guys gave me a reason why, and I couldn't remember when I was explaining it to Melissa, so if you guys wanna explain that, go for it.
So 24 breaks down as follows. We need 6 radios per truck. There is a capacity in a full crew of 6, working at the full capacity, 18 total between the 3 vehicles. The 3 fire trucks. The 1 emergency truck that we have requires a vehicle as well, so that brings you up to 19 vehicles. Radios, right. Now, the next 3 are for the chiefs. The chiefs all get, the first assistant chief, second assistant chief, and the chief get a radio on their own. All right, so add 3 more.
22.
We need 1 base station for the fire department over at the municipal building. The 4th one was a spare, was basically in case something breaks down. So that's the total math on how many radios that you need to replace. The 9 that we have from the county are somewhat compatible, but not 100%. And we'd rather, if we're gonna make the investment, let's get a unified communication system going across the board.
Well, why don't, if we have 9, why don't we budget for 15 this year and 9 for next year?
Because of the price break.
I don't know, the price break that he gave me,
I
It's
try
only
to
designed-
do it all in one shot, Patty, because that way we clean something up, and if next year we have budget issues, I'd just rather see the fire department, because and I'll just say it personally, fire, police, emergency services and all of that are my #1 priority, and this is a definite need. This is a critical.
But we'll follow the chief.
See what the price break is, right? Because you still get the price break on nine, I don't know, right, Patty, that's what I think you're gonna say, you still get the price break on between the 2 different purchases.
well, the 25% that he's saying we got because we're getting 24 is, according to the quote, is that it's because it's on state contract, not because they're buying 24.
So it's not quantity, it's
Per
based on
the quote, and I'm just going for the quote.
So please clarify that.
Can I clarify something real quick?
Sure.
Am I even allowed to discuss these line
You can,
items?
so that's, I don't think you can vote.
Vote.
Oh.
You can't
Yeah,
vote.
but you can add your expertise to it.
So I'd like to make a comment about the radios, because what I understand with the new radios, they also have a pass device built into them. The reason
Yes.
pass device, if a firefighter goes down, the alarm goes off. So if you're out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, a man's walking around a truck and goes down, they'd be located. I've been on 2 fire calls where firefighters are lost inside the building, well, actually 3 calls. Dover, Rockaway Borough, Rockaway Township, that we never had that device before. We have one on a jacket, but now they have a radio, they can radio back to, and I can hear a pass device go off.
It's
That's
essentially an insurance policy. because
Absolutely.
They have one on their pack,
Correct.
right? The firefighters that are not certified yet have one that they wear on their jacket.
That's,
But everybody carries a
Now I
radio
have it.
on scene.
now I
So
have it.
essentially, everybody has a backup
Correct.
in
And
case,
they can radio out.
because, something falls, smashes the tank, something like that.
So would we be returning those 9 radios to the county?
I'd have to ask what Chief Van Saders wants to, just how they wanna handle it.
Because again, we pay $200 a radio each year to dispatch, so if we're not gonna use, let's say we decide to purchase all 24 of them, I mean, not that we'll get any credit big, but 9 times 200, it just saves on the regular budget, so,
Yeah.
right. I just can't see paying for something, 9 of something we don't need.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And he wants to get them in a
But I
different
mean,
color.
I could go to Chief Van Saders and his team on that one.
Then we'll have a final answer for you.
Yeah,
I remember last year also, the chief came up with the same problem, communications.
that's right.
Right.
So this is not
This is
something.
definitely an A, so we just gotta
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as we clarify the number, I'm good with this. I
Yes.
think in the spirit of supporting our volunteers, safety is paramount.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm advocating that AB,
And
you
again,
know.
I hope I wasn't coming off that I wasn't supporting, I just.
No, not at all, clarification, no.
Dollar signs.
That's why we discussed this, Patty, and that's what you should be doing. But I would say that if
Wanted
we're
to make sure I
looking,
got that out there.
looking down the list right now, Skyhacks are an A, turnout gears an A, the radios are an A.
Not,
Knox and the others, open for discussion.
I think the Knox boxes are also an A because that's more access to, buildings quicker, which could either save infrastructure or save lives as well.
I mean, you're looking at a $9,500, you know, line item. The forcible entry tool,
Can I make a
that's
comment on that?
Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
make a comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, with speaking with people, that is a very new tool. So the
Yes.
recommended thought was to say, maybe just buy one, see how it works,
I would ask for a demo.
or something, because it's like brand new.
Well, demos are out of our skill, you know, it's.
Yeah, the recommendation thought was to get one, and if it works out good, then put, in for more for next
Yeah.
year, but to buy five of something brand new that we don't know how it works, might be a little overkill.
Yeah, this is the forcible entry tool.
Yeah.
And then
So, but I just, something I heard that I
Sorry,
figured pass along.
These mics keep like turning off. They-
I know, I know.
That's what it is.
All right,
It's
the
unfortunate, isn't it?
airbags and the lifting
That should be
system-
in the budget.
Airbags and the lifting system, those are old.
They
And
are.
the current ones are, what did you say they were? 20 years? Yeah.
They're old.
They're 30 years old.
And they're used not only in.
They're fire and rescue.
I know,
They're
they're
used
old.
in training, they're used like a lot.
And so I would put the airbag, suggesting, just my personal opinion, that's an A, and the exhaust system is definitely an A over there,
Yeah.
because we can't have the fumes in the building.
So the only question mark is the forcible entry tool. in my opinion.
Forcible entry tool, and number of the radios. I think Chief Van Saders needs to break down, do you need all, what's your plan? I just explained it to the way they explained it to me.
Yeah.
So.
And are you retaining the money to get the credit, right? So we wanna make sure all that.
Credit per unit, all of that kind of good stuff. But I'd leave it in the A category.
Yeah, in terms of the principle of the thing, I would put it as an A as well.
Okay, so my question is, forcible entry,
Yeah.
reducing it down to one, like I just need to, so I can cut numbers here, like.
I mean, if you.
I mean, I'm trying to get, because you're gonna ask me a new number, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm adding,
Yeah, I would
subtracting,
say
and,
we're
so
at
what
one.
are
I
we,
would say-
what are we
Try one.
subtracting?
I would say at one, since it's a
Yeah,
new
try
tool.
one, and if they work out
Yeah,
well.
if they work out, we
look at
budget
26
for it
and
next year.
27 for the next.
Yeah, buy 2 and 26, maybe 2 and 27, I don't know.
What was the five, is it for all the trucks? I'm not sure, how do you come up with five?
Yes.
One for each truck,
Okay.
one for the chief, and I forget the other one.
So these are like $2,000 each?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The rate, the forcible entries, or 2,600?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Alright, so right now, we're only looking at the forcible entry and fire, right now.
Yes.
Patient radius, yeah.
Yeah, we're only going with one, right?
And it sounds like possibly bringing that radio number down to 15 if they already have none.
We need to clarify what's going on with that, yeah.
I think what you should do is, if you're gonna approve it at the whole amount, and if it goes down, it goes down. Like, I think
We want
that would be our best bet.
set of radios.
I
Let's
just
talk
think,
about police SUVs.
yeah. I'm already down one on that.
Well, you also do get the money back, right, when they get that money really does it, no? I mean, they do get money back when they get the jobs, right, so they did mention that, so.
What is each one, Patty, 90,000 or something?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah,
After,
yes.
So was there some discussion that others need to be replaced, or what, why two?
So I think, Andrew, you had a very good conversation. You asked how many cars there were, so if you wanna.
Yeah,
give your-
so I think their concern is that they have a lot of Fords that keep on breaking down. What they want is 2 new Chevy Tahoes because they have a better track record of longevity and not breaking down during that longevity. I think right now they already have 1 or 2 Fords that are totally stripped. The engines are apart and they keep on having issues with these. So they're looking to invest in vehicles that just have a better track record and a better life expectancy. And from my understanding, there are still 2 vehicles that we bought for them that they haven't even gotten yet.
Right.
These take like a year and a half or 2
Yeah,
years.
to outfit. They take
And
a
then
long
it takes
time.
another, 9 months for outfitting.
It takes a long time to outfit. And that total cost is the vehicle plus outfitting.
Plus outfitting.
Let me see if I can find.
I don't think we can afford,
2.
I don't think we can afford 2. I think if we're waiting for ones that haven't even come, let's approve 1 and cut this in half.
Yeah. So that would be what, 64,000, Patty?
That you're taking out? No, because if I'm taking the whole vehicle, I'm taking 90 out.
Okay, right, okay.
We can go
Well,
possibly get
80,
them
I'm
into
only
one.
taking 85.5 out because 5% of it is in the
Right.
town meeting cost,
Okay.
so.
We can
And
possibly.
again,
get
I'm
them
doing
into
really
one
quick
this year.
numbers here, trying to make sure I'm getting all my numbers right. So if we take the loader out, reduce the,
You got the entry tools down to 1.
We took the loader out?
yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta multiply that though, yeah, so.
Or you know, he's better.
Is that the only item we took out on that page? Patty, you moved the loader to next year, right? You put into 2026?
Yeah, whatever you guys usually don't approve, I,
Move
put
to
into
the-
the following year.
Okay. Yeah, that got me prioritize.
I would love for us to figure out a way. I would love for us to figure out a way to do some fundraising for some of these things that, like these entry tool things. Like, wouldn't a resident be thrilled to like support that, or, we have generous people. Like, I feel like if you knew what you were donating toward, we could have a campaign, and I know there's issues around how we do fundraising or this,
Well,
but.
the fire department can. If the
Uh,
fire department runs it, they can do it.
They can do it.
And that's great, but I feel like there's things around the town too, like other towns do fundraising for parks and for, I feel like it's something I would wanna investigate.
You're right, Melissa, because other towns would do fundraising for playgrounds.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a thought.
right?
Well,
Who's gonna-
the town actually does, I think it's private groups that do it.
Yeah, private
Yeah,
groups.
private groups, but
And that's in conversation with you.
who's gonna do it?
Yeah.
I know,
That's the biggest hurdle.
Rotary clubs.
Yeah, like the Friends of the Library are doing a fundraiser at a restaurant coming up, like, I don't know, there must be these, I feel like we could tackle this a little creatively.
Okay, so, okay, trying to do, okay, so taking them out, taking out the loader, taking out 4 of the, forcible entries, and taking out the 1 police car. And again, I will double check my numbers out, this brings it down to $764,000.
What did we take out, Patty?
Wow.
3.
That's really good.
You took out the loader, 4 of the forcible entries, and 1 police car.
Which total what?
So,
Their exact total,
The number again, Patty?
yeah, I'm,
Seven,
down the loader.
so I gotta take this
22, 36,
minus $309,130.
And you said the file number was again, I apologize?
Yeah, 1.148.
The new number you mean?
Yeah.
764,110. And again, I wanna go back and check my numbers, I'm doing this on the fly, but I said it out loud, it should be good, but 110.
Plus
Okay.
500,000. Right, 1-2.
So, right, so then, yeah,
And last year was 644, right? For what, general?
Yeah, so we're at about $120,000 increase over last year.
We need to say a little bit more. How much did we go up?
So that's a little under 20%.
That's not bad.
no,
And
for general capital only, because we're not even looking at water yet, general capital actually went up for 643
In debt.
in debt.
That's the last page. Okay, so that was, we're taking out the loader, 4,400, 1. That's it?
There, that's what gets you to the 764.
Patty, are you going to touch base with each one of the chiefs and department heads and, you know, should they want to revisit or?
I think we already did that, did you not?
Did you already talk with these folks?
Oh, I didn't, I think you guys went, because you asked if he had to take something out, I think we kinda,
Well, maybe
Yeah.
I should.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, I have no problem reaching out to him now, but I didn't reach out to him.
I did talk to Billy, I think Andrew also talked to Billy, right? So,
Maybe we should do
I
that
can talk
as
to
a,
the chief.
have them come back
Am I allowed
at the
to?
beginning of next meeting.
Melissa will.
I will.
Okay.
I mean,
Or have the liaisons check with them.
that's all.
Okay.
So then you have both chiefs,
I have both chiefs.
there you go,
I mean,
and then you, Councilman Haynes, I guess you'll talk to Billy?
I,
The logo.
well, I mean,
I mean, he said, it,
Yeah, I'll
but you
talk.
just would confirm.
I'll talk to him, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Not a problem. Alright, so then as it stands, we'll leave it at the 264,110 for general capital,
Mm-hmm.
is that where we're at?
And then we'll have a conversation for Vegas this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See where that goes.
Okay, now let's look at the water capital. I don't think we're gonna have a big discussion on this. So as I reported at the council meeting on Thursday, we did find out we did get, the east new wing, water main.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be, it's a $332,000 project, we're gonna get just under 79,000. So the debt on that is gonna be 253,000. The only other two things in there, I mean, water's just in, I think, in personally good shape. We always put money in for keep our hydrants in valves, we always like to keep an amount on that, just in case of any breaks. The Stony Brook rehab project, I believe when, Brian Schatzel was in, he explained the need for that
Right.
50,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then the utility truck, originally when I gave it to you, I believe, I don't remember, it's 90,000. We're only gonna go out for 45,000 of that because I finally had an epiphany, no. Half that truck is used for sewer, so I'm taking half that money out of the sewer reserve. So instead of going out for the whole 90,000, I'm only gonna go out for 45,000 on the water side and fund the sewer portion, through the reserve.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings that one down to with soft costs.
And I would consider this all A tier.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree.
these are all A.
These are, yeah.
What is a walk behind saw?
So you didn't.
Looks like a lawnmower with the blade this way, that they used to cut into the pavement or masonry surface.
Instead of jackhammer.
It's like,
It's cleaner, it's safer, it's better product when it's finished.
And the amount for debt will be going out for water is 485,000. Last year, if you just wanna know, we went out for 280,000.
Right, but we didn't have to, I mean, the water main is imperative.
We have to update our.
That's imperative to do the water main, so it is what it is.
We have to.
Right.
Yeah, we have to, I mean, that's part of infrastructure, it has to get
And you
done.
don't have to.
So 50,000 for the hydrants, we have to continue that project.
So water debt is 484,600, plus or minus, doesn't matter.
What is it, 484?
484,607.
It's total debt, right, Patty?
That's what I go out for debt for water only. So you got the 484,607 for water, you got the 764,110 as it stands right now, plus the 500,000, so we're at $1.7 million that we'll be going after that.
Dang.
I mean, the anomaly there, folks, is that you have another $500,000 that, you know,
Right.
it's not tying a capital item or an improvement, it's something that we're obligated to pay for.
Again, but it just wants to be set up, you know, like, so we're just conscious of what we're.
Yeah, I know, so we know that,
That exists.
and
What's the bond, how long are these bonds?
Just a year. So what happens is, you go, it's called a band, it's a bond anticipation note, you go out for a bond, it's a project, so what they do is they do bands, and you're allowed to do a band for a 1-year time frame.
So that's what you pay back in here.
So in a year, we pay it back, and then we turn around and we refund, so next year, so let me do this year. This year, when I go out for band money, when I go out for this 1.7,
Yeah.
I'm gonna add all the bands that I had prior to this. So I pay off the band, and I go out for a new band.
So you're
So the new
essentially
band
refinancing every year.
Right, every year, and I can do that up to 10 years, and then after 10 years, then I have to go out for permanent bond.
A bond, gotcha.
Yep.
That's a great explanation, thanks.
short-term loan, and then you're wrapping up the refinance all your debt into.
And it's pretty much
So,
all debt.
that being said, if you guys are
It's good with
comfortable
that,
with
so
that, I can
small.
say, for now, we are good. So, I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna go under the assumption that the radios are staying in. So we keep that number, cause the only thing that only can go good if for some reason decides to lower, so
Well,
it will go higher.
I will connect with the chief and report back next week. And I'll report to you before that, so you have the numbers.
Not a problem, sounds like a plan. Everybody good with that? Anybody have any questions regarding this? I think we're good. Alright,
Thank you, Patty.
All good,
Working
thank you.
all those numbers and discussion.
I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Open to the public.
Oh. Hello, Katie Clark, 66 West Flag Street. Happy Saturday. Just a couple things that, based on what you said, like this meeting was very helpful, and the amount of discussion that you had it was helpful and easier to track along based on all the other meetings that I've been to as well. So thank you for that. I did want to mention, there was some talk about, what did they say about this, the radios or the cars and things like that. Obviously, you know that the videos are on YouTube, so if there's any time that you guys want to go back and remember what was said, if you weren't here or you just forgot, you know, there's a lot of information, you should go there. That's a side note. And then Melissa had mentioned the fundraising for the fire department. I thought that was a really nice idea. I think you had touched upon it, that there are some limitations from a municipal standpoint on fundraising. I've heard that before, completely understand that. And Patty had mentioned, yes, the fire department can do that. And one of the things I've thought about is, you know, in the past I've thought, the fire department should be doing more. Why don't the police and the fire department post stuff on social media? Like, we don't want them doing that. We want them fighting fires, protecting the community, training. And it just feels that if we can't find a way to get them the resources and the equipment that they need without having to fundraise themselves for their own equipment when it's a volunteer fire department, I think we can do a little bit better there. So again, whatever limitations there are, I'm sure that the fire department will be willing to do something. Like, I'm not going to volunteer again for something to do a flyer or help, but I'm sure if something happens, I'm rambling now. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Angelo Natale, 151 Mount Pleasant Avenue. The loader, I can speak from experience itself. I mean, I own over 40 pieces of equipment, from all the way from 2024 all the way down to 1986 itself. My question is downtime, how much are we putting per year into that machine itself? Nobody knows right now.
We don't.
I'm just saying, okay. So in other words, I would think about it, they're spending $225,000 right there. I mean, TLC, I mean, I love antiques, they still work. How many, the big thing is the hours, that's what I'd like to know. You have 2 loaders, how many backhoes we have? 2 backhoes?
Exactly.
So you have 4 buckets on the ground itself, so.
Well, that's one reason I think we pushed that a little.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to say from experience, having 40 pieces itself, you could do away that 10, 15 years from now. Now, Bill might say that might be like, that's crazy itself. The question is, how much money are we throwing per year to maintain that machine itself? And then we have to look at if you're buying, the financing, and so on right there. The utility truck itself. Is that gonna come with a plow?
It's the duty truck. The duty truck, Tom, you can help me on this duty truck.
In practice, every time a pickup truck was four-wheel drive, put a plow on it.
So there's gonna be a plow on
There
it.
should be a plow.
I mean-
It'll fill also.
I mean, maybe we don't need that truck, or maybe we don't need that plow itself. I mean, like, the mayor already proved already, snow shoveling itself. You know what I'm saying? So, and logbooks. I believe we need logbooks, especially for the administrator, so can record each day DPW has been doing, so they can remember where the dirt has been going, or when you couldn't remember that snowplow, why you couldn't send the DPW out there. So I would say logbooks is what you're gonna need.
Well, I think our DPW do keep logs of.
But she cannot answer that question. She had to look to you, is what's very obvious itself.
Which is fine, you know.
Yes.
But I know, Tom was back, I know there are logbooks and they have meetings and.
When I was working there, I had a logbook for the library, because we're charging the library for shoveling the sidewalk, salting, and plowing.
But the thing is, Mr. Mayor, due respect, you had the answers, she didn't have the answers, she just shrugged it. So, okay, so now, I would say better calendars itself. So DPW can remember when they gotta take back a rented excavator. So we, the public, were paying for an excavator to sit 4 days when it could have gone back. When that was over $300 and something, we were paying for something, a piece of metal sitting right there. Lift truck or trailer. Lift trucks. How many lift trucks do we have? 4, I believe. So,
Those lift trucks,
yeah,
there's 2 smalls and two big ones.
okay. So if we have 2 and 2 right there, why are we having like Great Supply deliver a machine to us when we have the lift trucks or trailers itself? We're trying to cut down on expense itself, okay? I would say invest, what I'm real big on too is like slope laser. So you can use that for the, what do you call the library. You don't really need this engineer because I threw the grade stakes in there and you guys took the stakes out. So I would suggest a slope laser is what you need to invest in. And they're maybe give or take like $3,000. That will actually make the DPW sharper, smarter, because it teaches you how to do this job itself, especially for the DPW building here. And I would say updated code books, DPW, administrator, engineer can catch up on the codes itself. And last of all, I have a question, engineering costs itself, to cut the engineering costs. Like yesterday, when I went to the town hall, talked to Ken, she had told me that she had to call the engineer / DPW itself for Crestwood Road for the exposed JCP&L wire itself. My question is that when you have to call that engineer, are we being billed for that call itself?
As, you know, as the administrator, CFO just said, it's just, it's all part of that Crestwood project, so all those costs would go under.
But are we gonna be billed for that, for extra, for?
No.
So, but we were billed,
Well, billed, but it'll be paid under that grant.
It's a flat rate.
it's
Not
a flat
for
rate,
individual
right?
call, Not for
No,
individual.
just because when we had the meeting at the library or even on Addison, we got billed extra from the engineer itself. I don't know if you can see those bills. I opened it, I got the bills itself, and it showed, let's say, when you were at Addison itself, we got billed for that. When you got, what do you call the library, $160 for a 20-minute meeting itself. So I don't think we need to run to the engineering for every little thing itself. when it's common sense, like yesterday with JCP and L. Thank you. Oh, and question, this meeting itself, when my wife had put the request for the music, that has nothing to do with it, or it does?
Not specifically today, but, you know, if you look at, you know, we did get the request, I think we did send a note back that we did get it. If you look at everything that's going on Main Street, you know, between the old Bob's Caboodle, you know, where they're putting the apartments, they're gonna be doing the retail, obviously the issue that we have with Maximo's, you have the other corner where Basari's is, there's ongoing work with that. So, you know, although music obviously is on our radar, but spend that money to put in music along Main Street when there's no business there at the moment, you know, to bring in, I'll call it pedestrian traffic.
But what about, let's say, where you have Anthony's Pizzeria, Quick Check,
Well, Quick Check's private property.
but we can get permission, well, actually, because I was proposed before, not through JCP&L, but through Verizon itself, which I have the pull through them, is that we have the permission to use their poles itself.
Okay.
So, and the last one of all my wife wanted me to say was like, the light for the Rockaway Season's Greetings sign itself, what about that?
So I talked to Caesar, the owner of
Yeah.
opposite property,
Yep.
and actually he's willing to put up a light, you know, from his side, you know, facing
Okay,
the sign.
okay, I'll talk.
As long as I told him to keep the lights down, because obviously you shine lights onto the sign, but then you have, I'll say, the residents behind it. So just to
I agree, yeah.
keep focused. But Caesar did mention that he's more than willing to work with us or work with you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Okay, Bonnie Hook, 23 Jackson. First of all, Patty, I'd like to thank you for presenting in that way and mentioning the figures for us, because I appreciate it. Thank you.
If I can help you out, I definitely try.
Thank you, and I thank you. The question I have, and I know it was a joke about the speakers, but I really do think we need to replace these, and I've said it many times, and it's not a big budget item, you know, for the meetings. So we are more professional, we can hear, you know, it's, you know, it needs an improvement. Did you have the rec on, did you have any details on any of the rec with because I went to a rec meeting the other day, and I've always asked the question about the software or the newsletter or whatever, and Pat always reported that they're checking into it. Well, I had a nice conversation with Rob at the meeting about he explained that first of all, he was surprised that he really hasn't had any requests for anybody that wanted the newsletter, because they really, I guess, do a good job with the sports, with the websites and the Facebook pages and whatever. My stress my point with the newsletter was for the town to do it. Not necessarily, I know it might be a rec thing, it might not be a rec thing, but apparently they have money in there for a new computer and the Adobe, and they don't really even want to do the newsletter because they said that in the past they haven't gotten responses from people. And I really think it should be a town thing, not a volunteer. If it is a volunteer, I mean, are you aware of this, first of all, that there's a volunteer that wants to do it? I mean, are you guys okay with buying a computer for a volunteer?
So the volunteer is part of our committee, so part of the borough's committee. It's not just, you know, our volunteers go through checks and have to be as interviewed to be on the committee.
Right.
So we're at the volunteer, but it's the recreation committee's volunteer that's doing it.
Okay.
Should she leave, she would not be doing it.
Okay.
So
Does the
so
computer
she's
go
done
home with the volunteer, or is it in town hall or something?
The what?
The computer.
The computer, no, we need to get a
It's
computer.
a town issued computer to the.
It would be a town issued computer
to-
that
never-
we would have to, but with this, it's not in this budget because the biggest cost is going to be the software, and software cannot be a capital item. That would have to be part of our budget.
But the computer is.
Yeah, but I believe the recreation might be able to take the computer. I'm thinking, I have to double check with Rob, but I think that might be taken out of the rec trust.
Okay.
But to your point too about information, you know, one of the things that a newsletter could do, right, you mentioned, right, information may be on Facebook, it may be on these rec websites, it may be here, it may be there, but I can see a newsletter pulling that information from those different sources and putting it in one consolidated.
Exactly, as long as it's not gonna be only rec, that it's gonna be town
Right, I mean,
events,
there's- right.
fireman events, you know, police,
Right, so that's
everything.
exactly it, you know,
That's what I want
firemen.
clarified, that it's gonna be for the whole town, not just the rec, because I think it's redundant if it's just for the rec. But if it's gonna be for everybody, I think it's gonna be
I
good.
think it might be wise if we do like a communications inventory, because we have a library newsletter, which is wonderful. We have the police and the fire putting things on Facebook. We have the recycling mailing that goes out. Maybe we do an inventory and figure out the most effective way to convey information and the cadence to like just a little more holistically look at this.
Right, because you can have a newsletter, you can have standard items, but you mentioned recycling, that could always be part of it, you know, but like new stuff, like you said, new stuff coming out of the library, you can pull that piece, put it into newsletter, anything new coming out of PD, copy it and put it in there, you know, so it's,
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be copied, it's all set up ahead of time, that if I post it here, it's gonna go here, here, and here. And, you know, you know, it's very easy to do,
so
once,
I'll
for
follow
somebody.
Rob on that.
Yeah, and because I think it's great, and I've been saying it for a long time, and I realize their stress and their problem with it, with getting all the information. But if you tie that all in, that would just help, and I think it would be a good thing for the
Right,
town.
you talk about getting information, it's existing information, it's already out there, it's something that,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
cite the links up to the, where it was the word.
you just start pulling
You link
pieces, right, just
two
start
links.
linking, just start pulling.
Okay, great, thank you, that's basically what I had today.
Any other comments from the public?
I have a comment.
Wait.
Not the public.
Any other comments from the public? Barry? Thank you for the work you do at Parks Lake and keeping the,
Thank you.
keeping
Wow.
the, keeping the lanes clean and, you know, stuff like that. It's,
I see her there every day.
Yep, I saw you yesterday.
yeah. So anyway, it is recognized, Barry.
Yeah,
Sometimes
thank you
I
very
appreciate
much.
it.
Good job there.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could just, you know, keep them from sending the police after me when I'm cleaning. That was not very nice.
Any word on the Swans? Are they coming back?
I don't think so.
No?
But that's a good thing for us because they're more prone to avian flu than geese have a bit, resident geese have a bit of an immunity. So we, you know, the mallards and the swans, cute as they are, you don't want them around right now.
Yeah, good point.
Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, close the meeting to the public.
I'd like a closed session for contract negotiations and salaries.
No action to be taken after the
No.
closed session. Motion to go into closed?
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.